I think most people understand that for the most part, Star Wars is a fantasy that's basically set in a space setting. And like most stories that are set in the fantasy genre, we have good versus evil. We can see these themes in The Lord of the Rings, as well as The Wheel of Time. Hell, you could pick up any fantasy story and it's right there in the text. There is a reason in Star Wars why we have the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force. Now, obviously, there's rooms for shades of gray when it comes to these type of stories. Just look at Han Solo. He's definitely a character that kind of falls in the middle between good and evil and is kind of a gray character, but ultimately does have a redemption arc and does head towards the good side. However, the issue is that modernity has crept into Star Wars, and it's no longer about good versus evil, but just sides.
I mean, the best parts about Star Wars is there is no good or evil. Depends on what side you're standing on, truly. You know what I mean? That you can look at any angle and see yourself relayed through all the characters, Darth to Luke. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's a rather interesting statement. Let's go back to the original Star Wars and see if there's anything that stands out as being blatantly evil. Got nothing? I don't know about you, but I consider the Empire blowing up an entire planet filled with people to be pretty fucking evil. So I'm guessing that a genocide is fine as long as it's the right people and they're on the wrong side? Is that what I'm hearing from Star Wars now? Ultimately, when George Lucas created Star Wars, I think it was pretty clear the Empire were space Nazis. Yes, I'm sure it's a bit of a stretch with the comparisons when you have names of the bad guys being called stormtroopers. I'm sure I'm reaching. And this imagery was very intentional. Now, this article comes from History.com and was written back in 2015. There's nothing subtle about the historical allusions in Star Wars. After all, the elite assault force fanatically devoted to the Galactic Empire share a common name with the parliamentary fighters who defended the Nazi Party. Stormtroopers. The Imperial officer uniforms and even Darth Vader's helmet resemble those worn by German army members in World War II. And the gradual rise of Palpatine from Chancellor to Emperor mirrored Adolf Hitler's similar political ascent from Chancellor to Dictator. So yes, Star Wars is just only about size and not good versus evil in any way whatsoever. These actors are idiots. Don't think it's all that deep or difficult to understand, but apparently is when it comes to modern day Hollywood. Which ultimately leads to the point of this video, which is The Acolyte. And the fact that Leslie Headland's probably not the best person to be talking about morality. After all, she was Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant. You know, the guy that's notorious for abusing women. But I'm sure she was just completely unaware of all the shitty things he was doing to women. I find that highly unlikely. And quite frankly, I don't think we have to look very far when it comes to the fact that, well, she obviously sympathizes more with the villain in her own words. In an interview with Empire magazine, Leslie Headland said to them, "When I was a young queer girl, I used to hang out with Ursula the Sea Witch from The Little Mermaid," she told the outlet. "As a queer girl growing up, if you don't identify with the heroes and the villains show up and they're all queer-coded, you're like, yes, that's me." First off, nobody normal talks like this. Nobody says, well, as a young straight child. This is something that only elitists and Hollywood weirdos say. And second, you just identify with the villain. That's all there is to it. That's the takeaway that people should be getting from this. Now, it is said that the character of Ursula was largely based on the drag queen Divine. However, I don't think that's something that most people actually know, and the idea that Leslie Headland somehow knew this as a child, I find highly suspect. Which finally leads us to The Acolyte, Leslie Headland's project for Star Wars. Now, a trailer was leaked the other day and subsequently pulled from the internet. And there's several quotes that I find rather troubling. This article comes from Bounding into Comics. Leaked Acolyte trailer declares, "This isn't about good or bad, it's about power and who's allowed to use it." And this is very reminiscent of the woke saying, "There is no truth but power." And again, the issue is that this is modernity creeping into Star Wars. The issue here is Star Wars is supposed to be timeless. It doesn't take place in our world. It is a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which is greatly removed from current year. Which means that their problems aren't necessarily our problems and vice versa. But because we live in current year, that's no longer the case. And again, Star Wars is a space fantasy that is about good versus evil and not moral shades of gray. Now, another quote from the trailer, which is actually at the very beginning, is that it has a Jedi Master who is teaching younglings about the Force. Your eyes can deceive you. You cannot trust them. The Force is powerful. It is power we must respect. And this is very much contrary to the teachings of Yoda and Ben Kenobi. The idea that the Force is just about power is absolutely wrong. The idea is that it is a powerful ally. It is the thing that binds us together. It is created by life, and it's not just about power. It is about believing something greater than yourself, which is something that is completely lacking in modernity, unless that higher power is a cause. Anyway, folks, that is my take. What is yours? Make sure to leave a comment. Oh, what's that I hear? Oh, that's an awesome shirt you're wearing, Ian. Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, if you would like to get your very own Jay White shirt, you can go to beachpunk.us and pick it up. There's a lot of other really great designs. This shirt right here was designed by a member of my community, Jaffo. He has a lot of other great designs, and if you are interested, please go and check it out and pick up your merch today. Link will be in the description. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you next time, folks.